This is the plaintiff, Erin Carlisle. She says the defendant's her upstairs neighbor and her toilet leak, damaging her ceiling. She had a plumber tear a hole in the ceiling to figure out what the problem was, and she wants to be reimbursed for that plumber. So she's suing for $201.52, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Salwa Mata. She says her sink was leaking, and she spent $1,800 fixing it and the plaintiff's ceiling, using the best materials money can buy. She doesn't feel she's responsible for paying for her plumber to detect the problem, because she would have had to spend that anyway, because it's an old building and the pipes leak in the walls all the time. She's accused of being all wet.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says her upstairs neighbor had a toilet leak and damaged her property, and she wants some money for it. But the defendant says she repaired the plaintiff's ceiling perfectly, but now the greedy woman wants her to pay for her plumber? No way. It's the case of a royal flush.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Carlisle, you are suing Ms. Mata for $201, the cost of a plumber that you had to pay in order to determine that the leak was coming from her apartment. So her condo's above yours?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you each own your own condos?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so what happened?
I had to establish where the leak was coming
Well,
from.
First tell me, like, you're sitting there and a leak happens. Tell me about the leak.
No, ma'am, it happened at 1:30 in the morning. I got up to utilize the bathroom, and I noticed the water was leaking or forming a bubble in the ceiling.
Okay.
I immediately went upstairs to try to contact her.
At
At 1:30,
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
We do have a building manager, but
But
unfortunately,
they're not there.
he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
you knock on her door.
I knock on her door to establish what the leak is. She told me that there was no leak. She couldn't establish where it was coming from. I said,
Did
well,
she go back into the bathroom and check when you told her that?
Ma'am, I ended up calling the fire department, actually, to try to find out where this leak was coming from, because I wanted to try to have the water shut off.
So was water actually falling down? Did you put a bucket?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you told her what was wrong, did she go to the bathroom and check it out?
I don't know what she did, ma'am. I called the fire department.
Well, no. You're standing at the door. She's standing here. You know
Yes.
if she left you.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she checks, and she goes, I can't
She
find
says
anything.
no, right.
So then you call the fire department.
Yes.
So what happens?
They come in, they do their assessment, and it was a rainstorm that night, and they told me that it might be coming in from the rain because it was a high velocity storm. I said, oh, okay, well, I still got to find out where the problem's coming from. So I called a plumber, emergency plumber.
Not at 1 in the morning.
No,
though.
not at,
Okay.
the next day.
The next day. And why was it an emergency the next day?
Because the water was bubbling
Oh,
through
but
the ceiling.
emergency as in he comes right now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the water was bubbling through the
I
ceiling.
got it.
And so they came in and they assessed it. They said, we have to cut a hole in your ceiling. I said, oh, okay, cut the hole, because I knew it was coming from her. So they cut the hole.
Well, you didn't, right? Because it's a condo, so it could have been.
It could have been.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
Okay, let's talk about that. So he cuts the hole, and what do you determine?
After the hole was cut, they determined that it was coming from her apartment. We called her
But
downstairs.
how was it coming from her apartment? Because if it's coming from her apartment, I would imagine that she'd see it.
It was from her toilet, ma'am.
Was her toilet running?
Her toilet was leaking. The toilet was just leaking.
The toilet itself?
Yes.
Not the common area plumbing?
No, they told me that it was coming from her toilet.
So did your plumber then talk to her or
Yes.
talk to management?
No, talk to her directly.
Okay, and so tell me what the plumber tells you.
It was the sink, not the toilet. The
Okay.
sink, it was like the pipe under the sink.
Uh-huh.
The curve, it's like curved pipe.
Uh-huh.
It was leaking. So
Could you not see that?
I couldn't see it.
Why
because
not?
I had a lot of stuff under the sink in the cabinet. So when the minute I knew is from this piece of pipe, I called my plumber right away. He came, he changed that piece, and right away, not even half an hour.
Yeah.
He went and got it, and he put it, and then he went to her apartment to check, and he told me we have to leave it to dry.
Right.
But we have to do the whole ceiling. I told him, I don't know, that's your job. Do whatever you have to do it. So he told me, I'm going to do the whole, it was only under the sink.
Right,
He
but
said,
then
"I'm going to
you'll
do
be
the
able to tell the little square. So sometimes you're able to patch that and it'll look great.
Yeah.
Almost, like you would need really good eyes to see it, or sometimes it'll look bad and you have to do the whole ceiling. Yeah. So he did the whole
said,
ceiling.
It's better to do the whole ceiling. So she agreed, and
You paid for all that.
I paid for all this.
And that was $1,800.
No, it was
How much?
$1,200.
$1,200. Okay. So so you paid all that.
I paid all this,
And
I didn't.
You were very happy with that work, right?
Yes, I was very happy.
So
I
what are
paid
we
her.
arguing about? We're arguing about the cost of the plumber.
The initial cost,
and
ma'am.
you initially spent just to find out that the leak was actually from her place.
Yes, ma'am.
And why, of all things, because you paid, you told your guy, do what you have to do,
right
but don't
away.
skimp,
In the
do it
same
right.
day.
Do it with the best material. So you were super generous and good and neighborly about that.
Yes.
But then on this one little $200 thing, how come you said you don't feel that you should pay that?
Yeah, the building is old, very old building. We had a problem before, not with her, something else.
Yeah.
It was the pipe inside inside the walls.
Right.
So
it could have been the pipes inside.
It could be that.
Except for that it wasn't, right?
It wasn't.
Okay, so if it wasn't, now that we know that it wasn't, why should she eat? You behaved beautifully. And I know that you just really think this is not your bill, but why would it be right for me to make her pay that instead of having you pay that when it turns out the leak was in your sink?
Yeah, but
and not really hidden. It's just that you had a bunch of stuff there.
I didn't do this on purpose.
Oh, I know.
This
of course
has
not.
happened. It
No,
happens.
that's
It's
why
an
I'm saying that you behaved
old
beautifully
building.
afterwards. Everything was fine. I just disagree with you. I don't think that bill is hers to pay if it turns out to be a problem in your sink. If it turned out to be a problem in the building, then she can argue with the building about it. But if it turns out to be a problem inside of your apartment with your sink, which it was, that's why you paid for everything, then she shouldn't be out any money.
But I took an action right away.
I know.
Wait.
That's why I
didn't
say
wait.
you behaved beautifully.
And the guy had to come several times.
I know. I
till
know.
he finished the whole thing.
I know.
Ma'am,
One time-
he did a wonderful job. It's
And he did a
beautiful.
wonderful job, and she's super happy.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I get it.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The legal question, who's circling the drain? Let's find out. Go back into the courtroom.
One time, my daughter hit somebody in a parking lot. She was like 15, 16, I guess, 17. Hit somebody backing up, just a tap. And she called me in a panic. I said, leave a note. I didn't even have to say, I leave a note, right? I go, of course you leave a note. She leaves a note. The lady is on the expressway. It's pouring down rain. Her windshield wipers are going, and the note almost flies off. And she gets it, and she calls me, and she says, I want to commend you. Your daughter's so honest. That's so great. I said, absolutely. We'll pay for the damages. The damages were $300. She tells me, I need to rent a van because that's what I drive. That's what your daughter hit. The van rental for the whatever number of days was like, 500 and something. I thought it was kind of cheesy, right? But she was right. Legally, she was right. Mm-hmm. But I understand that you feel it's kind of cheesy. I get it. But legally, she's right. So verdict for the plaintiff, $201.52. Good luck, ladies.
Well, that didn't take long. The plaintiff prevails. She's going to get what she was seeking, the $201 back from Ms. Mata. The defendant's on her way out of the courtroom. You understand the judge's decision, and you can step over here a little bit, of why she ruled the way she did?
Yes, I did.
Let me ask you, the fact that she's
I-
filed a lawsuit against you over this, has that changed your opinion? Are you mad at her? Can you be friendly with her now? What do you think?
Why not? But I was expecting, for all what I paid, she can pay the other $200 because I wasn't supposed to do the whole ceiling. I did the whole ceiling for her.
And
this is
she
something
appreciates
more.
that. She said they did a great job. But look,
That's why I was expecting her to pay the $200.
All right. Well, Didn't happen, did it? Sorry. All right. Good luck to you. All righty. Thank you very much. Ms. Carlisle,
Hello, how you doing, sir?
let me ask you, I mean, is there going to be peace in the village, so to speak, you think?
Absolutely. I just want my $200 back.
And
That's a fair thing.
And
don't
you're
you
right.
think?
You're right. The judge said you're totally in the right.
Yeah,
You deserve it.
She did a wonderful job. She
Well,
fixed she fixed the problem.
Her repairman.
Yes.
She didn't do it.
Well, she didn't do it.
She paid for it.
But she paid
Yeah,
for it.
Okay.
I'm happy. I just want my $200. I just want what's fair.
You got it. Good for you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, Doug, a lot of you know that CCNR means Creedence Clearwater Revival. It also means covenants, conditions, and regulations. That is what every homeowners association has in a condominium, and you need to check the rules. If you're in a condo, read it carefully. It will tell you what your rights and your responsibilities are.
Judges always ask for a police report. What does one do if the police refuse to come? Also, I have seen where people can't get the report. Then what can one do?
If you don't get a police response that generates a police report, I assume you're talking about a typical automobile accident, property damage.
Or they're
Somebody hits
waiting
you,
around
you
for
hit some-
hours and the police don't come. What can you do?
Right, what can you do? You can, typically in most jurisdictions, you can just go to the nearest police precinct and self-report.
Yes.
And they will create a police report. I wouldn't wait on it more than the end of the day or the next morning probably to get it done quickly. But, and they will generate a police report. And you might say, well, that's not going to carry that much weight because I self-reported. Well, really, any police report where the police are showing up in a reactive scenario after the event is not going to be any better than what you report.
Sometimes it is.
It's hearsay
but
based.
yeah.
They're interviewing people.
But sometimes there's witnesses and they'll have the witness statements there and
but
small
you can
claims.
take the photo. Yeah, but they'll get there after the cars have already been moved.
Right, but if they speak to the witnesses that were there, they'll say witness so-and-so says X,
Sure.
and I'll find out. And in a small claims
But
case
you
where
can
the
also-
rules are relaxed,
and you can also
you'll get a
report-
little bit of
Right.
insight into how things happen
But you
there.
can report on who those witnesses are and suggest that they interview them as
Right.
well, right?
And also when the time that you're really going to need that police report is with the insurance company because they won't let you in many cases file a claim unless there's a police report on
Right,
file. So you
right.
have to be able to show that to them.
Right, so you're going to end up having to get it.
Right.
But you can take the photos. I mean, God, everybody's got their iPhone or their.
That's right.
Take photos of everything: the damage to their car, the damage to your car, the positions
Them
of the
saying
car.
they're going to pay, video that before
Right.
they change their tune
Right.
once they go home.
Right.
And,
They have no reasonable expectation of privacy, standing out in the street yakking
no,
about.
talk to them. Matt, tell them. Do you mind if I get that on tape? And we don't have to
Right.
wait for the police. Just say you're going to cover the damages.
Right,
and, you know.
absolutely. You know, protect yourself.
Yeah.
And that report hopefully is going to help you get paid in the end, assuming you deserve to get paid.
Right.